whatever space or community that we're in. So again, power is always changing. The power that you hold in this meeting might be different than a power you hold in another meeting, how you hold personally, things like that. And we just really want to assess that in this space and like how we can solve the power imbalances that might be present. So this is a quote that power is the ability to achieve a purpose. Whether or not it is good depends on that purpose. So a couple of reasons and benefits of us accessing our power in this space is to combat feelings of powerlessness by identifying what you have control over, to process the paradox of feeling powerlessness within the system hierarchy while also having relative power within the community, to pull back the veil on power structures impacting our work in this space, to increase awareness and the responsibility of having power and improve accountability, and to help identify ways to share your power with those who have been structurally blocked from power due to their personal identities or lived experiences. So the activity that we're going to do today is to get our action team, so you guys, to consider how powerful that you are as individuals and as their organizations that you're representing, working towards system change and ultimately making a Milwaukee a healthier place. And just like a precursor, that this activity is meant to ease us into conversation about power. It's not going to give us any concrete solutions today on how we kind of tackle those power imbalances in this group, but it'll help us expand how we perceive power. And we're hoping that every action team meeting will be working deeper into like power sharing, power building, and equity activities. This is a part of a larger process from the MAP 2.0 Power Primer. The question I have for you guys today is, outside of those benefits, or if you want to, like, what are the benefits of assessing power in this space? So all of us together as the Built Environment Action Team, what are some benefits of addressing this power? And then if you're not feeling comfortable doing the Menti, you're always welcome to unmute or put it in the chat. So we have breaking down silos, normalizing conversations about power, we can take what we learn into other spaces, ensure to uplift every voice, optimize everyone's contributions, and representation of a diverse group. We give about 10 more seconds. More diversity, better solutions. Encourage everyone to contribute and empower everyone. So yes, so that's what we're trying to work towards, is really having a really great group where we all feel empowered and we all feel that we can share power in this space. Understanding how we can be best effective at reaching goals and learn from others and hope all contribute in open conversations. So for this slide, I am going to ask you to rate yourself on how powerful you are. 0 is not powerful at all. 10 is very powerful. And people are like, oh, like, what's the context? Like, well, how should I define myself? It's really up to you and what factors that go into the power. Again, power is very fluid. It's different in different spaces. We got an 8, we got a 5, 3 8s, we got a 2 2s, got 2 6s, we got a 9, we got 4 8s, so 8 seems like a pretty big number with this group. And again, it's really how you define yourself as powerful on whatever factors that you would like to weigh in on that. All right, so I'm going to give about 15 more seconds. So we're at the 5 and higher range is where we're sitting at collectively as individuals. We do have 2 people identified themselves as not very powerful on the scale. All right. So moving forward is, how did you decide where to place yourself? Like, what are the factors that went into why you placed yourself at an 8 or why you placed yourself at a 2? Again, the mentee is anonymous, so I can't see who is providing that feedback. So whatever you feel comfortable to share on how you kind of defined where to put yourself. One individual said the job or the job title that you hold. Unsure of my role here. Ha ha ha. I thought I finished the whole minty. White cisgender, high education, job title, collectively agreed upon plans that support my work and number of individuals who work reaches, confidence. I work for MHD, who is leading this meeting, relative education, influence, skills, ability, training, life experiences. For this goal, score, I define my immediate circle of influence and my place within that ecosystem. So a lot of different reasons of why we placed ourselves on that board and how we view power within ourselves and what defines our power, which I think is really interesting of how we define how powerful we are. Some people define it by their jobs, some people define it by their identities. As stated earlier, power is very fluid, and the way that we perceive it is different. My lived experiences and professional experiences. I had to work outside of my previous system. May sound weird, but how my vote can influence the system, or in most cases, not. I'm new to the workplace. I've been home with small children for many years. So we are going to move on to the next question, which is how powerful are you as an organization? So the organization that you're representing in this space, how powerful is that organization? And if you are not part of an organization and a community member, how powerful are you as a community member? Okay, got a 7 and 8. Okay, the 7 and 8s are battling back and forth. A 9. So right now we're showing up as a pretty powerful group in terms of our organization and the power that our organization holds. We got 1, 3, 6, and 9. So about 10 more seconds to think about how you would define your organization as powerful. All right. So we're going to move on to that next question. So the same question, but flipped. How did you decide where to place your organization? From the previous slide, it looked like a lot of organizations perceive themselves as pretty powerful. And what goes into that power? And how did you define it? History in the community and size, influence on the community members, services provided, leadership network, institutional history, budget, power to set policies, based on reputation, depth, and ability to consistently improve, funding, credibility, history. So I'm seeing a lot with the history of the organization, the funding, which is a really big component, leadership, influence. Programs are hemmed in by laws, motivation resources, collaboration. So a lot of power, right, that our organizations hold that maybe we don't hold as individuals, but understanding what our organization holds is really important. So how are we tying in power imbalances, right? So there's a lot of different power in this group, right? We range from 2s to 9s. We had a lot of people at 6s and 8s on the individual level, and same with organizations. So we see a power imbalances on those scales. So how do we perceive power imbalances showing up in this space? Who feels comfortable to speak first or redirect the conversation? Unsure, that's definitely fair. Who asks questions? Who may have the resources, time, and additional capacity for implementation? Men speaking over women and non-binary folks. Variety of levels of system knowledge. And right, it is uncomfortable talking about how power imbalances show up in a space that we're currently present in. And sometimes you don't notice it until after you leave a space. We're like, huh, that did not seem seem right, and that's okay. To not have a concrete answer now, we're hoping to leave these mentees up for a little bit. Appeals to civility or politeness, access to technology, people who feel the need to talk more versus people who choose to listen more, good ideas ignored, lack of representation, inaccurate data, not representative community, biases, funding opportunities. So they're showing up, right? And that's something that we really want to work towards as a group and as the collective. Right. So the next question is, what are ways that we can share power and decision making in this space? So looking to the future of co-creation and co-solutions. So with that list prior, like how do we create a space where there is no hierarchy or no power imbalances, or if there is, that we lessen them? So what are ways that we would like to share power in this group? Whether that's how facilitators share power, how different organizations share power. Make expectations clearer, create an agreement on shared expectations, listen to each other deeply, encourage verbal participation among everyone, transparency, inclusiveness, allow for there to be anonymous voting for those that feel uncomfortable speaking up, setting more clear ground rules for conversations, no interrupting, giving people equal time, give examples of how power or responsibilities was given or accepted when unaccepted, ensure a variety of ways to engage in more than one space. The role of the facilitator is big, making space for everyone, being intentional, collaboration, sponsorship, pulling resources, supporting one another, and send requests for additional agenda items prior to meeting. Right. Well, I think there's maybe one more slide. So that is the end of the presentation. I know it just kind of seems like a hard, concrete stop, but it's not. We're going to take back these feedbacks and help like summarize them and then bring them in Q2 so we can work towards co-solutions and co-creation together. And so it's not just an endpoint. We're never not going to see those again. We want to be held accountable as an entity, and we want to hold each other accountable for power sharing. So that is my space. I don't know if there's a time for a question or two, but this is a longer process. We know that power just doesn't dissipate throughout the meeting, but that it takes some time.
Yeah, thank you so much for facilitating that, Alex, and thank you everyone for participating. Are there any questions or comments? How did it feel participating in that activity, or anything really stand out to anyone in terms of the results? See a heart from Michael and Alora. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll come back to this conversation like Alex mentioned. Oh, Crystal, yes, curious to see what comes from this activity. Yeah, so Alex mentioned we will summarize some of these results and we'll bring them back to the group next time, and we'll do like a second part of this activity, essentially to work on like co-creating what kind of practices we want to create in this space together. And I also hope this was an opportunity to, now we see that and you can start to think about other ways that you see power showing up in these spaces. And just start to notice it a little bit more, and we can continue to have this conversation. But thanks so much, everyone. And thanks again, Alex, for participating in that. And we have a great transition question in the chat. So Yedidi is new in this group, and now that we're at implementation phase, what are the next steps? That's exactly what we're about to do next. So we are going to spend the next 30 to 40 minutes working through some clear action plans. So as part of our planning process, we've identified a couple of key goals and objectives that we want to lead in the 3 different priority areas of housing, transportation and active spaces, and food access. And so now we're going to do a quick Menti poll to identify like which of those do we want to, which of those top objectives we want to focus on, one in each area for the next year. And then we'll go into breakout groups based on your specific area that you're most passionate or want to apply your energy towards this year, to figure out what exactly are we going to do together this year. So I'm going to pull up, I have another Menti poll. So now I hope that was good practice and we can be familiar. You'll use a different code for this one. So share my screen here. So if everyone can go to menti.com and then you're going to use the code 85523204, and it's at the top of this slide right here. And please feel free to put any questions in the chat if anyone is having trouble accessing this, or open your mic and we can explain. Everyone able to access that okay? Okay. Awesome. So these strategies are directly from the plan, and really the ones that we are, as Milwaukee Elevate, had identified as either being like actively participating in and leading. And so just asking the group, which housing strategy should we focus on in 2024? And so you're going to rank these in order that you think you would like to see us focus on in 2024. So we have the option to advocate for targeted or proactive rental inspections and increase enforcement or awareness of health hazards in rental units. Expand grants and low or no interest loans to make necessary home repairs to reduce health and safety hazards and energy efficiency, or conduct an asset and gap analysis of housing resources for households with extremely low incomes and low incomes. So I want everyone to have a chance to participate and share what you think this group should focus on in 2024. I'll give it a second.
Amanda, could people go off mute if they're not able to use the Menti app?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, you can either go off mute or put in the meeting chat. So can anyone, does anyone want to share? They're not able to access the Menti. We'll put you in as a vote. A couple more seconds to see. We've got 22 people participating. Looks like it's slowing down. Okay, last chance. Anyone want to share their vote? Okay, awesome. So it looks like in first place, so what we want to prioritize for this year is advocating for targeted and proactive rental inspections and increase enforcement awareness of health hazards in rental units. And then once we go through transportation and housing, a group is going to break out in that to focus on this housing strategy, and they'll really break this down and figure out what exactly this group of Milwaukee Elevate wants to do for this year. Thanks, everyone. So now we're going to move on to transportation strategies. So which transportation and active space strategy should we focus on in 2024? So the options are support complete streets and multimodal transportation projects, align with Milwaukee's complete streets policies goals to increase walkability, or participate in Vision Zero planning and outreach campaign development. And again, feel free to participate by the Menti. It's the same code. You just flip to the next slide or add your response in the chat or say it out loud here. little more time. All right. Any last votes? Anyone need a little more time? All right, so it looks like winner is support complete streets and multimodal transportation projects aligned with Milwaukee's complete streets policies goals to increase walkability. And in close second is participate in the Vision Zero action planning. So the transportation group will break out and figure out what that action steps look like for Milwaukee Elevate for 2024. And then last but certainly not least, healthy food strategies should we focus on in 2024? So we have collaborate with environmental climate action partners to understand sustainability impacts of reducing edible food waste, advocating for increased and sustainable funding for coalitions to build partnerships and create a coordinated system with more staffing capacity, and then host an annual food systems conference in Milwaukee and bring together local stakeholders. Let's give everyone a couple minutes to participate. Seconds look like it stays out. Okay, so it looks like the top priority here is to advocate for increased and sustainable funding for coalitions to build partnerships and create a coordinated system with more staffing capacity. So the food group will get to break out and have a chance to talk through what that looks like for Milwaukee Elevate for 2024. Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone, for participating. You'll have a lot more time in this next phase of the activity to really dig into these ideas, but we appreciate this. And I think we have what we're doing for 2024. So this is pretty exciting. So now I'm going to open up 3 breakout groups. And so we're going to have about like 20 to 25 minutes in these groups and have a chance based on your main interest and capacity where you want to focus on, whether that's food, housing, transportation, or food. If you want to work on multiple, you can talk with us afterwards and we'll get you connected in with that group. But for now, pick the one you're most passionate about. And you're going to have a facilitator that'll take us through defining what a SMART objective looks like for 2024, and then what are our first action steps we want to take together. Before we break out, are there any initial questions? Different. Okay, awesome. So I will open up the groups and then every group will have a facilitator in there that'll help lead us through this process together. And so you'll be able to pick which group you want. And if you have any trouble with that, let me know and I can move you into the group that you'd like to be in.
For me, a little tiny box popped up in the bottom right corner saying join a breakout room. So if you can't find anything, if it's not popping up right on your Zoom.
Thank you so much for saying that because I totally didn't see it.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Very subtle. I don't know why they don't make it more obvious.
Hey, Amanda, I'll have to head out around like 10:40, 10:45. Do you want me to stay in the main room in case people get kicked out?
Yes, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Alex. Just make sure everyone finds a room.
Yeah, and anyone want me to move them anywhere?
Yes, this is Barb Scotty.
Yes.
Please move me to food.
Okay. Now you should get a pop-up asking you to join that one.
Got it.
Cool.
It's up
There
now.
Hey guys, I also I don't have one. If I could be put into in the transportation one.
You got it.
Okay, I will head out. See you all shortly. Where were you gonna go, Amanda? trying to figure out.
I'm gonna go in the transportation group, and then Teresina, I know you said you were having some technical. It might be hard to speak today. Is there a group you want to like go into and listen in, or do you want me to leave you in the main room, and then if there's a point at which you can feel free to join a group.
I can wait till she responds in the chat if
Okay.
you want to head to your group, Amanda.
Awesome. And same here, Derek.
Yeah, I'll move them. Hi, so they are off in breakout rooms. Did you want to be added to one of the three? Oh, you're on mute, sorry.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, so there's the transportation, housing, or food.
Housing.
Okay, I'll send you over.
Thank you.
Hello, did you want to be put back into the room that you were in?
I think I had to hang up like shortly after we were placed, so I don't even remember which group it was.
Okay, did you have a preference? There's housing, transportation, or food.
Um, Food.
Okay, I'll send you over.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome back, folks. Okay, Mia, are you ready to present now? Okay, so we'll do that next. Awesome. Okay, do we have everyone? Looks like. Okay. Awesome. Thanks. I hope that conversation was productive. I know our group had a lot of good ideas, and I think we have some next steps. Anything anyone wants to share from what their group discussed?
I can share from the housing group. Are you able to see my face? Because for some reason when
Something
I came back,
I can't see you, but we can hear you fine, so that's okay.
Can't hear you.
Okay.
But you're in a
Very
dark
weird. It was, like,
abyss.
working fine, and then it wasn't, and now settings are not responding, so I'm just gonna talk. And basically, housing strategy, we kind of did some level setting on where proactive rental inspection is right now. We came up with, kind of started going into initial stakeholder lists, so that would be like Ron Coalition, land organizations, different branches of the city, county, university sector. So we started mapping that a little bit. We talked about leading a stakeholder analysis, policy review, current workspace, maybe developing an advocacy toolkit and doing that early on. The fourth item, maybe like a cost analysis action program. Everyone was about to reveal like many more great ideas, but I did not manage the time well, so I wanted to apologize to the group. So we are still circling on a first step, but I think we have a lot of concrete actions that we could think about. Any questions?
Oh, that sounds great. I'll share a quick summary of our transportation access spaces group. So we are still tallying our votes, but I think had a couple of ideas that rose to the top. And so one is like organizing some kind of like pre-walk with some different DPW projects to advise people to build awareness of some of the different traffic safety measures and what the experience of using those streets looks like. And then focus really on like aligning messaging overall and like building a narrative around public safety and environmental, the environment and how that connects in with transportation, and focus on developing some common narratives and then sharing those communications out. And then also potentially working on some kind of campaign to try and incentivize multimodal transportation in workplaces. It's like alternatives to parking. And help because if employees are already paying for parking, then they should be paying for some of those other opportunities too. And so designing a campaign around what that could look like together.
And I can go next for our food conversation really briefly. So we had the one that rose to the top was advocating for increased and sustainable funding for coalitions to build partnerships. And when we kind of took a step back, that just felt really big and broad for our first strategy to focus on within the first year. And so we did a lot of like discussing on like, what does that mean? How do we actually make sure that we're coming together and creating actionable steps? And we felt like that one of the first things that we need to do as like within the food system is really bring partners together, learn from each other, and try to have a more coordinated system of partners. And so I know that the Milwaukee Food Council is really trying to develop an annual food system. Maybe we'll call it like a symposium, or not necessarily a conference. We're bringing all these outside people to speak, but more so that we can grow more and grow stronger partnerships in Milwaukee and then kind of grow from there. And so I think that can be something really wonderful to bring people from Food Council and other partners within the food system to all come together and kind of plan for that. And so we had talked about maybe, on a monthly or bi-monthly basis based on everyone's capacity, kind of creating a work group to start planning for that and make something meaningful. So we had a really lovely discussion, and yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Well, thanks everyone for participating. I think we can hand it off to Mia next. So you can go ahead and introduce yourself, Mia. I know that some people already know who you are, and then we're very grateful that you have time today to present.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. Can everyone hear me fine? Yes, great. Thank you for confirming. I'm always a little anxious about that. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. I have a little presentation to share with y'all, but I just wanted to give quick preface. My name is, again, Mia Rudolph Schulte. I work with the City of Milwaukee's Environmental Collaboration Office. A lot of folks don't always know what our office is and what we do. And also I think from the name, it's not always that obvious either. So we're specifically focused on environmental sustainability and carrying actions, programming, policy forward related to that here within or externally from the city, but also internally at City of Milwaukee as well. So with that, I will share my screen. All right, can we see the presentation okay?
Yes, it looks great.
Awesome, thank you, Hannah. All right. Oh, and also Hannah, sorry, could you give me just a time check about how much time I can take?
Yes.
I want to make sure we've got enough for the elections at the end.
Oh yeah, no, you are totally good. I feel like about 20 minutes feels good.
Okay.
20-25. Yeah.
Awesome. So
Should
I'm
be good.
just gonna give a little overview of our office. Like I said, I also was hoping to share more specifically one of the programs that I work on, because I'm hoping that this group may be interested in spreading the word a little bit more about it. And then we'll leave some time for questions, of course. So with that. So what is ECO really focused on? We're really, if you haven't heard this term before, the triple bottom line, it's a I think it's a very common way of describing the priorities within the environmental sustainability and climate sectors. So we're really focused on prioritizing ecology, economy, and now equity, but also community. Sorry, I have to update that slide. But really uplifting all three of those simultaneously and through an environmental lens. So with ECO, we're really focusing on making Milwaukee a world-class eco-city. We do this, as I mentioned, by targeting programming, policy change, and other opportunities to develop practical and racially equitable solutions to improve our community and economy, as well as through protecting and restoration of our natural ecosystems. We are very big, as the name implies, on collaboration and building partnerships both at the local, state, federal, and global levels. And one of our big focus areas for moving all of this forward, our guiding star, is the city's recently adopted Climate and Equity Plan, which was created in partnership with the county and diverse stakeholders from across the city and county. I'll get into a little more specifics about that in just a moment. So at ECO, we have a primary focus, or we have several programs that help carry our work forward. So primarily we are focused on renewable energy like solar, as well as building and residential home energy efficiency improvements. We have our Milwaukee Energy Efficiency Program, and that offers an affordable loan-based opportunity to do energy efficient upgrades on the home, such as replacing windows, redoing your insulation, things like that. And then our Milwaukee Shines program similarly is a loan-based program that helps make solar more affordable for homeowners We also help to host an annual solar group buy. One just occurred in the 2023. And we usually do that with different neighborhoods across the city, or this time it was actually the greater Milwaukee area in general. And the goal with that is to get as many people as possible interested in participating and installing solar on their homes. And that helps to bring down the cost for everyone involved in the program. We also focus on creating opportunities for decarbonization. So that's that energy efficiency, and solar is what that term encompasses. So we focus on making that more possible or affordable for commercial property owners as well. Our PACE program offers financing for larger scale commercial property owners to be able to make those improvements on their buildings. That also includes green infrastructure, which for folks who may not be as familiar with that term, that is talking about different amenities, features, improvements that you can make on the building and surrounding area to capture excess stormwater where it falls. And in a city like Milwaukee, where flooding is extremely prevalent, especially in certain neighborhoods, that can be a really helpful strategy for mitigating those flood risks. We also have our water-centric city initiative, where we really focus on partnering with different water-based organizations all across the city and elsewhere to address those issues of stormwater overflow, ensure people are really engaged in water stewardship around the city, and really ensuring the quality of our beautiful fresh water stays or continues to improve and is sustained. And then our Eco Neighborhoods program, which I will go into in just a little bit. So I'll move on for the moment. So for folks who may not be as familiar with the Climate and Equity Plan, so that was adopted by the city. I know I mentioned it was a city and county effort. Currently, only the city of Milwaukee has officially adopted the plan. We're hopeful the county will as well. But that happened back in June of 2023. And the primary goals for the plan are really to reduce community greenhouse gas emissions. Ideally, we're looking to reduce it 45% by 2030 and get to net zero emissions. So ideally no emissions by 2050. Simultaneously, we're working to improve racial and economic equities, and specifically focusing on the creation of green jobs that pay at minimum of $40,000 annually, and with a specific focus on BIPOC communities for those jobs. So what is included in the Climate and Equity Plan? So through a series of working groups, there we go. And many stakeholder meetings. This was at least 2 years in the making. These working groups came up with 10 big ideas to focus our efforts on for meeting those climate action goals. So I'll just name them off really quick. We have a Green Jobs Accelerator. So that's really focused on workforce development, green job creation. Healthy home upgrades. So that's considering not just including renewable energy and like solar and energy efficiency improvements, but also addressing home upgrades from a more holistic perspective. So partnering with the health department, for instance, and making sure that lead assessment is included in that healthy home upgrade, and other issues of air quality are addressed. Eventually, we are building towards creating new net zero energy homes within the community that would also be affordable homes. Working on building commercial building benchmarking and energy standards so that commercial properties are more accountable for the emissions that they are creating. We're focusing on people-centered transportation as well as electric vehicles. So not just getting more electric vehicles out on the road, but also making sure that infrastructure that can, or the infrastructure that's needed for them is implemented throughout the city and available to the public. Also looking at clean electricity, expanding nature in the city. So that's really focused on solutions such as creating more green spaces that are easily accessible, adding more adding more trees to our urban canopy that helps really mitigate extreme heat temperatures and also helps with flooding by capturing more stormwater. And then of course, food waste reduction. And we have this 10th idea of resilience ambassadors. So the resilience ambassadors ideally are folks who are located within community-based organizations, trusted members of the community who are well-versed on different aspects of climate action and are really able to connect residents with the climate resources and programs that can help them help contribute to reducing these greenhouse gas emissions. So I'm just going to pause there for a moment. And also I just wanted to toggle over to our website really quick. I always think it can be helpful to just point out the website because I don't know about you, sometimes I always make a point of saying I'm going to go look at the website after the fact, but I don't always follow through on it with it. So just to help get folks there a little bit easier or create that space now during our meeting, I just wanted to go ahead and showcase, where you can find our website. We're at the milwaukee.gov/eco. You can find us on the city's website, and our site goes into a lot more detail about the different areas of climate that we're focused on taking action in.
Sorry, Mia, we're still seeing the slideshow screen.
Oh dear,
Just
so sorry.
Before you got too much further.
Oh, thank you. How about now? Is that better?
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Anyway, so this is our website. Again, you can find it at milwaukee.gov/eco. Like I was saying, we have a lot of really great information about our various programs if you want to do a deeper dive. And then especially if you're interested in learning more about what's all incorporated into the Climate and Equity Plan, we have a really fantastic site that goes into either an overview or as much detail as you can handle about each big idea. So I'd highly encourage you to check that out. And I feel like this is all really, important, or it's all very relevant, I think, to the goals that this team is hoping to carry forward. Built environment is such an essential player, or how we address our built environment and adapt it is such an essential player in really helping to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and create a more equitable, climate resilient community. So that's, I think, one of the big reasons that was really happy to participate in this group and see it taking such a holistic approach to built environment. All right, toggling back to presentation, and I will try to make this short. I don't want to take up too much more time in case there are questions, but I just wanted to give a super quick overview of our Eco Neighborhoods initiative. Okay, can you see the presentation again?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you so much. So yes, our Eco Neighborhoods initiative. This is a program that I coordinate. It was established back in 2017. And ideally, this is an initiative to promote a more collaborative neighborhood level effort to achieve Milwaukee's climate action goals. And specifically by working with or providing and collaborating with community members and leaders who are already making an impact in their communities around environmental and climate health. So what does it mean to be an eco neighborhood? That's ideally one that's working to improve its environmental impact on our climates, air, land, and water. And I always like to give folks a little overview of the process, like what's entailed in becoming an eco neighborhood. So ideally, we ask residents to assemble a team of at least 4 community members with 1 representative from a community-based organization, and to participate in what we call the eco neighborhood team. This is typically like neighborhood specific, but obviously folks think about neighborhoods kind of in different ways. So where people are working is, I think, flexible, but ideally you're concentrated within the same geographic location. Then once that team is established, I would work with the eco neighborhood team to create an action plan that is guided by the Milwaukee Climate Inequity Plan and also our Eco Neighborhoods Toolkit, which is a really great resource of locally based programs and resources that can help you address different climate or your neighborhood's climate goals. From there, we sign a memorandum of understanding that will be collaborating on this action plan for at least a full year. And in doing so, part of that action is learning a lot about our office's programs and other city and environmental partners programs and resources that the group can utilize, but also that can be shared out with residents across the community. So we really see this as an initiative that's focused on outreach and engagement around different environmental resources and programming within the city. So I think I'm hopeful some of this may be a little obvious, but just to give you.
Oh, I think you accidentally.
Sorry, I did, yep.
You got it, you got it.
Really, it's been a little while since I've given a presentation. Thanks for bearing with me, folks. But really, in addition to hoping that you feel yourself and your community contributing to these, the city's climate goals of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and also helping to adapt to any future changes, we hope that you would see neighborhood benefits like improvement of the beauty and environmental friendliness of your neighborhood, increased community assets and collaborations, which are built through these partnerships that we create as part of the initiative, participation in a growing community of eco neighborhoods. And then you do officially receive eco neighborhood designation by the city of Milwaukee, which you can see in this picture is a fun event where you get a proclamation and the mayor comes and it's quite celebratory. So who's participated in this so far? I just wanted to highlight, it's a small but growing community. We worked with Lindsay Heights Neighbors in 2018, and they received the first official eco neighborhood designation. They're also, because of all of the environmental efforts that they had been doing for years prior to 2018, really helped to inspire this eco neighborhoods initiative. The Sherman Park neighborhood is the next one that's been designated in 2021, and just a couple of examples of some of the things that they've done. They have done coordinated tree plantings. They've done monthly educational webinars, neighborhood cleanups, and they also have helped establish an annual Earth Day in May event that often takes place in Sherman Park. And on deck, we have the Century City Triangle neighborhood, which is working to finalize their designation most likely this spring. And they've done a lot of focus on green infrastructure, such as rain barrel installations and info sessions, in addition to community cleanups and other environmental activities within their neighborhood so far. So I'm just gonna skip ahead a bit because I know we are short on time. Sorry as I breeze through these. But I just wanted to give you a sense of what sort of resources are included in the toolkit, and I'll wrap up by pointing out where you can find that. So within the toolkit, we broke down different areas you can focus on climate action. So for instance, what can you do to improve the environmental health of the land? We give a little bit of an overview of what you can do and why it's important to. And then offer different objectives, such as increasing access to green, healthy spaces and different actions that you and your team can take to enact that. So you could focus on educating residents about using more natural lawn care and the benefits of doing so. Creating community or rain gardens that can help capture stormwater. A lot of rain gardens also include native plantings, which are really great for attracting native pollinators. So there are a variety of health benefits, environmental and personal, to both of those as well. And I think I will just skip ahead to the end here, but we break that Eco Neighborhood Toolkit down into air, land, and water, and those different objectives and actions you can take in each of those areas. And yes, there's much overlap between what sort of actions affect land and other aspects of climate. So you're not always just focusing on specifically land or air or water. Often you're doing all at once. So if you have any interest in checking out the toolkit for yourself or any more info about the initiative, please feel free to check out our website, and here's a link to the toolkit here. So I will just wrap up there.
Thank you so much, Mia.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time to share more about ECO and this program. It's a bit near and dear to my heart, so I really love the opportunity to share it more with folks.
Of course. We do have like a minute or so for any questions, so please feel free to unmute if you have questions, reactions. Also feel free to type any questions in the chat.
Mia, thank you so much for your work. I'm curious if you have presented at like neighborhood association meetings or what your outreach approach is.
Started very small, so some more like neighborhood, groups, and building into, more opportunities like sharing with larger groups such as this, or with like the Ron Coalition, for instance. So it's been a little slow going, but we're building towards it.
Well, thank you so much again, Mia. Oh, Barb, I apologize.
Yeah,
Did
sorry.
you have a question?
I'm trying
Yeah, go
to
ahead.
call and do everything. Mia, do we contact you directly to get you to promote these things? Because there's lots of platforms over here in the near west side I could plug into.
Yeah, absolutely. My email, I think, will be in the slides for the presentation. I can drop it in the chat as well. And please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to share the presentation with any groups you think would be interested.
Groovy, thank you.
And I just put it in the chat as well, if that's easier for you to copy and yeah. And if you didn't have time to ask a question today, you can definitely respond to any of our follow-up emails, or again, reach out to Mia, and I know that she'd be more than happy to work with you. Well, thank you again. So for our remaining time, I wanted to just briefly talk about our co-chair opportunity, and then I will invite Teresina to introduce herself after. So Amanda, if you don't, it's not necessary if it's challenging, but if you want to share the screen, feel free. Otherwise, I will just walk through some of the highlights of being a co-chair and what that role is. So as far as expectations go and what that role entails, it's attending most or half of our action team meetings each year. So just make sure you're actively participating, and we usually have about 2 larger like networking events. So participating in those as you're able to. Something that's really important to our team is ensuring that an anti-racist, equity-focused lens is being used to help us inform implementation of our action team goals and our strategies. And then another large part of this role is helping myself, Amanda, and then Mia, who just presented, another one of our co-chairs, help us in setting our agendas and co-facilitating our action team meetings, and then helping to lead and provide direction for our action team strategy implementation. And then as far as just qualities in a co-chair, just being really passionate and knowledgeable about the built environment and the Milwaukee community, and then being able to leverage partnerships and have a history of working collaboratively. So before I move on, does anyone have any initial questions? One other thing I wanted to say, sorry. I realize I have one more thing and then you may ask questions. But just to make sure, so yeah, it's working really closely with me, Amanda, and Mia. And then generally, as far as time commitment, we usually meet about once a month, an hour and a half. And then on the months that we have action team meetings, so this month, for example, usually a little bit more of time, maybe, 2 times during that month for planning purposes. And then we're asking for like an annual commitment with the ability to, term off after a year, or of course, we would love for you to continue with us throughout this CHIP cycle, but we understand that there's concerns of capacity, and if there's not interest anymore too, so we want to make sure it's flexible enough for anyone to be able to participate. So now that I added those 2 details, is there any initial questions from anyone in the group? Just give me a moment. And then if not, we just wanted to make sure that if there was anyone else in the group who maybe hadn't seen the notification or hadn't had an opportunity to fill out our co-chair interest form, if there was anyone else who was potentially interested that had not been aware of the opportunity before. So again, I just wanted, if you wanted to put anything in the chat, I wanted you to be able to have the opportunity today to share your interest.
Someone asked in the chat about the timing for applying to be a co-chair and then how to promote it.
Oh, thank you.
Also,
So
a link to the form if you want to share that here, or maybe you'll do that in your follow-up email.
yeah. So we're actually looking for individuals. We had shared this probably maybe like a few months ago. So we're actually looking today to share who will be joining our team. So I believe we'll actually be, I don't know if we'll be like elongating that process anymore. Yes, thanks, Amanda. So with that, of course, if you have more questions, please let us know. But I would love for I would love to introduce Teresina, who is interested in this role. I would love for you to, if you're comfortable, to unmute and just introduce yourself and know why you're interested in this opportunity. Doesn't have to be anything long, but I just wanted the group to know you if they hadn't been introduced to you before.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Teresina Simmons, CEO of Regal Aspire LLC, an education consulting and training organization, as well as executive director of Regal Family Services Incorporated, which focuses on a lot of perinatal services, family support services, and youth support services. I have been involved in the community in a lot of different capacities. I do a lot of trainings for different things, including things like Narcan trainings, babysitting, in addition to perinatal health professional services. I definitely am an advocate for policy. Strategic planning is a part of my consulting as well. So I have had experience with a lot of different organizations and pilot projects and things like that. So I really like to focus on the intersection. I believe intersection of a lot of different areas, is what's going to help propel us forward. And yeah, that was why I wanted to be a part of the built environment team. I do attend all of the meetings anyway, for all of the different topics, but it's definitely important to know how all of those things intersect. And that is definitely in this space.
Thank you so much, Teresita, and we really, really do appreciate you showing up as often as you do. It really shows your commitment and enthusiasm about the work that we're doing. So we wanted everyone to get a chance to meet Teresita and to welcome her to our team that's going to be leading our Built Environment Action Team moving forward. So we'll definitely follow up with all of our details from today, and we will, of course, Teresita, will be following up with you, but we wanted to welcome you to our I don't know if I love the word leadership team, but our team that is leading the strategies and helping to guide our action team. So thank you again, everyone, for your time today. I'm sorry to wrap up quickly at the end, but I want to make sure I respect everyone's time. I hope you
I have
Yes.
one thing before we fully adjourn. So we are really excited and looking forward to in May having our first meeting in person together. I think it would be a great opportunity for us to get to connect. And so if anyone has a space as part of their organization that you want to offer up where we could host the meeting, or if you might not have a space but know of a really good meeting space, please speak up right now or let us know. We'd love to plan and find a place that we could all get together, and giving you a warning that the May meeting will be in person. So if there's some travel involved, you can work on arranging your schedule now. But we think this will be a really exciting opportunity and a great way to connect in a different way. So just putting that bug out there. But with that, we'll wrap the meeting up. Thanks so much, everyone, for your participation today and for joining us. We're really excited to get to work on the action planning that we did and get to implementing some of these strategies. Oh, yeah, the dates for May. Hannah, do you have those immediately available?
I
We've been
believe
trying to
May
be
16th.
Yeah, it's always the third Thursday.
Yeah, I was like, we try to be consistent with that. Thanks,
So if
Melissa.
anyone can pull up a calendar really quickly and get us the exact date.
May 16th is the third Thursday. Our meetings are usually on the same day as each other, with this one in the morning and 9 in the afternoon.
Perfect.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
May 16th from 10 to 11:30. And depending on as far as being in person, maybe we'll be able to have a little more time based on everyone's availability, but morning of the 16th.
And yeah, if anyone wants to stick around, if have any last minute questions or have any space they want to offer up or recommend, be here for a little while. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Oh, I love that, Jessica. Yeah, we'll add that to the agenda. Optional walk to lunch after the next meeting together.
Oh, I like that. That's a good idea.
Amanda, I had. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it'll be the perfect time to encourage folks to find non-car ways to get to that meeting.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, we can have a
like
challenge.
it.
We can have some kind of contest and you get bonus points if you
We can like double
get a prize.
bike, wear helmets, be safe, bike.
And anyone who tries a new form of transportation, that's the real
Yes.
benefit.
Okay.
Anyone whose first time it was doing X, Y, or Z, we can all celebrate them.
So maybe I'll try and ride my bike.
Yeah, I'll help you.
Try. I love that.
Awesome. Yeah, Danica.
Yes, I was gonna offer, I had a DNR external advisory group meeting at the Milwaukee Water Commons. And it was a very cool, recently redeveloped building on like 18th and Fond du Lac. So it's also super central. And I don't know what their connection was because none of them were actually involved in the meeting, but it was like a public group government hosted meeting. I can share the link. And I don't know if anyone has a connection to them.
Mia, are you connected to them?
Yeah, are you, was it at like Milwaukee Water Commons, the building that they work out of?
The one on Fond du Lac.
Yeah, that's Adam's Garden. So I think they do offer community space, but do you know did you reach out directly to Milwaukee Water Commons for that?
No, I'm just
Oh, yeah.
offering it as a suggestion that I had a meeting, public meeting there